welcome to the Hendrick Hudson Board of Education meeting. Today is Wednesday, March 19th. We had previously opened the meeting off camera, so now we will, and we entered exec. We are returning to start the meeting. We will start with the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, we're going to start tonight with the approval of the agenda. Do I have a motion to approve the agenda as stated?
Motion to approve the agenda as stated.
Second? Second. All in favor? Do we have anyone here to speak on non-agenda items, Carmen? No? Thank you. Does anyone have anything they'd like to pull from the consent agenda tonight? No? Do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda as stated?
Motion to approve the consent agenda as stated.
Second. All in favor? Okay, now we are moving on to the hearing of the public on agenda items.
There's no one signed up.
Thank you. And we move into our final budget review.
Thank you, President Mills. We've had a busy week here in terms of budget development. If you tuned in to our Saturday Day of Fun, we did our line by line. Tonight we will provide the final review of the superintendent's budget before we ask the board at our next public meeting to adopt the budget, and then it will become the board's budget, which we will then promote throughout the community. We will share with the community the parameters of the budget. We go to the next slide, Greg, as we pull it up. Just a reminder of our mission.
Is Corey online?
Mm-hmm. And then a reminder on the next slide of our budget development process. So we're right at the cusp of the superintendent's budget, where we do a lot of the development, a lot of the changes, because it's also a time when we're receiving a lot of changes to the variables that impact the budget. We will be asking the board to vote on a budget adoption resolution at our April 2nd meeting. And until the community budget vote, it will be the Board of Education's proposed budget. And we've done our job if the board feels confident enough in adopting the overall spending amount that we are recommending to go to the community. So we're hopefully this evening going to put a closure to the development process unless a major variable such as state aid or anything else changes, which we will of course update you on. But that's what we're hoping to do tonight. Just a reminder on the next slide of our current budget parameters. And then on the next slide, we had discussed staffing considerations as we went into the line by line. We shared with you some of our thinking there. We further refined that based upon some of the feedback. What we see in our proposed budget, again, this is subject to change. This is the transparency of the budget. This is not locked in. This is just how we have looked at our current staffing and possible changes to that to get within a budget that is balanced. And so you can see our approach there. The reductions, we relied heavily on attrition, which means that there was a position where somebody may be retiring or not coming back, and we are not filling that position. We will be looking to eliminate 7 permanent substitute positions and not filling a number of requested positions that were brought to our attention by department heads or building principals or budget code owners for another term in the development process, and you see those positions there. As at some point in time in the budget, they may have been in our calculations to help us plan, but we have removed those positions from the budget to help us balance as well. We do have 4 contingent positions to support changes in student programmer needs, and we did have a central office clerical technology position, which was close to budget neutral because Vanitha, through her work, had looked at her budget in a zero-based approach and said, I don't need this in my budget, I need this more, and she made the appropriate reduction to be able to integrate that staffing request. Again, these are subject to change. We have our tenure process, which is separate from the budget process, and ongoing staffing is always considered. And this is, again, that transparency behind our overall amount that we're going to ask you to adopt. If we go to the next slide, we did have a request to put in actual counts by building based upon our best projections. questions on that?
Does this, do these numbers include, like all staff or just teachers?
Includes all staff.
All staff, okay.
Instructional staff, Jill, correct? Or
It's both.
It's both. It
Okay.
It's
includes-
both central office as well, so
Okay.
But as far as custodians, those aren't included in the count, are they?
the counts are
Okay.
included. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. And then the next slide, I'll turn over to Jill for our a review of the line by line and some of the three component approach to the budget.
Right. So this particular slide just shows an overall summary of the revenues and expenses by category. I just wanted to post it there so you could see a summary, but if you were to, can you click on the words line by line in the top, in the heading? Okay.
I got it.
You can give access?
I hope so.
Okay.
I cannot.
Okay, so would I have to do that?
Mhm.
I want to give access to that document. Open it back here?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, bear with me a second. This. And just put right here. Or, oh. This?
We can blame the technical glitch on the
Okay.
fact that it's a Mac product.
Stop it. Okay. If you try it now, I think you'll be able to access it. There you go. So I'm not going to go through the entire, in fact, this is the entire budget, line by line. I can't click on it. Greg, can you click on the 100% and make it 50% up at the top? Okay. So if you go through the whole, if you just scroll down, I'm obviously not going to go through. This is everything line by line that we did on Saturday. It has 3 years of history, and then to the right, columns A, H, and A, I, they are the dollar differences and then the percent differences between this year and last year. So you can go through, anybody can go through that. It has access to the slides. So in the community, if they want to see the line by line budget, this is not out of the book we were looking at, but it's exactly the same information. And it's by department, and then each of the gray lines going across would be the total for that department. So you can see how the changes are for each individual code group and department.
And so Jill put this together as, pardon me, Jill put this together as part of the feedback on the forum of what we might like to see. So this is available for the public now, and this is how we will approach the public-facing budget book as we go forward.
Yeah, I had intended to have this prepared for Saturday, but we just didn't get to finish it beforehand. And but it contains all of the same information. It has the same budget-to-budget increase of 2.86% and the tax levy change of 4.58%. And when you get down to all the way down to the bottom, so Greg, you can just kind of scroll all the way down fast. Goes through each department. It goes through all of the grade levels, all of the subject lines for each building, and ends up with the benefits. And then again, at the bottom is that summary that I did post on that one slide. So for your viewing pleasure and comment as we, between now and April 2nd, you can go through the entire budget line by line. And again, the bottom is just a summary. Okay, we can go to the next slide.
This is great. I just want to, I mean, it's a lot of information, but I like the way that it summarizes everything we discussed.
Right, it is a summary of everything. It doesn't have actual, it's budget,
Yeah, budget.
for all 3 years. I can add on possibly for next year, maybe FTEs in there, so that information is on there as well. So we can, you know, grow it, as they say. Sorry, there's a 0 in the 25-26 year. So I just wanted to, I'm supposed to go over this. It's part of the state rules and regs for presenting your budget, and this is the 3-part budget. So we have administrative portion of the budget is 7.4% of the entire budget at $7 million. Our capital portion of our budget at 9.4%, $9 million. And of course, the majority of our budget is focused on program, and that's $80.1 million. Again, this breaks down the revenues and expenses. You can see that the largest part of our revenues come from property taxes, and the second largest comes from state aid. In our expense category, the salaries and benefits are our largest portion of our budget. Out of the $96.2 million, we're looking at about $76 million being salaries and benefits. And again, this is a review of our tax cap and how we got there. If anybody has any questions regarding that calculation, we've gone over it several times. Anybody in the community has questions, they're welcome to call and ask those questions to verify and confirm any questions that they have. Keep going. That's basically all I have, unless anybody on the board has questions. With regard to the budget, it hasn't changed since Saturday, other than the staffing, confirming the staffing considerations.
Questions from the board for Jill or myself or any of the cabinet members related to the budget?
So just confirming, we're stating the obvious, but we're not asking to go over tax cap.
Correct.
We're using the amount that we had slated for the fund balance.
Correct.
And we're not diminishing any programs, but we were looking at our staffing and making it more efficient, like a more looking at efficiencies.
And again, we don't have our state aid finalized figures yet from them. We hope to see them prior to the adoption of the budget, which is always, we're not sure if we'll get them or not, and that would be the day before. If there were any major changes, we would have to make some decisions. Or again, we could, if it was additional state aid, let it fall to fund balance if it's coming in for next year, depending on the amount of money that it is. So.
I do want to go to the staffing considerations. We did talk about this past Saturday, one of our options was to look at reduction of non-mandated TAs across the district. We have chosen not to broach that at this point in time on March 19th, 2025 at 20:04. However, I do think it's a conversation that we need to have as leadership governance, also as an educational community, on what is our belief and philosophy of the role of teaching assistants, aides within the instructional classroom, balanced against our duties to be fiscally responsible as well. So we want to start having those conversations, and that means that way we're not doing it under the duress of a budget time frame, but we're able to hear from all stakeholders on the benefits that they see or some things that they may ask us to consider. So we want to begin that conversation now for next year's budget development.
Jill, I just want to clarify really quickly. The 4.6 that showed includes the 875,000, that's the reserve, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
For extra bonus points,
Well,
to
you're
remember the
talking
name.
about the tax levy, the 4.6?
Yes.
Oh, no, you're saying the 4.6 for fund
Yeah,
balance.
because we had
yes.
3.7, which was
Yes.
the original amount we've been
That's
showing
correct.
for the fund balance.
Yep, it has the additional 875.
Just a quick review of the propositions that our voters will see on the at the budget vote. We will, of course, have our proposed school budget for next year. We will have the Board of Trustee election, the establishment of a capital reserve. That is just the establishment. We are not seeking to put money into that reserve at this point in time, but if the voters approve it, that allows us to, at a certain date and time, a later date and time, to be able to do that. We are also, on our ballots will be the Hendrick Hudson Free Library budget, and then ballot measure to enable the district to purchase buses. Any questions from the
Just
board?
one correction on that slide, and I didn't catch it earlier, sorry, Mike.
It's okay.
It says 2.5%, it's 2.86 actually. I think we were just saying rounding 2.5% the other day, talking
Free
about.
refresh, it should be good
Yeah.
now. Because you're.
There you go.
Okay. I really do want to extend my appreciation not only to the individuals who help us build this budget starting back in October, so our teachers, our teacher leaders, our department heads, but also to the Board of Education for help giving us clear parameters throughout the whole process, and that allows us to be even more transparent to the public as we continue to build that. So thank you very much.
That's it. No one has any other questions? We're gonna. If there's no other questions, we're gonna move on to our superintendent's update.
Thank you, President Mills. This evening, I would like to take a moment to recognize and express our deep gratitude to Mr. Anthony Giovanazzi, principal of the Blue Mountain Middle School. He has submitted his resignation for the purpose of retirement, effective June 30th, 2025. Mr. Giovanazzi has been a valued member of the Hendrick Hudson, Central School District since 2017, serving first as an assistant principal at the Hendrick Hudson High School before stepping into his current role as the principal of Blue Mountain Middle School. And throughout his tenure, he has demonstrated unwavering dedication to our students, staff, and our educational community. As we take time this spring to celebrate Mr. Giovanazzi and his contributions, we also look ahead to ensuring a seamless leadership transition. Dr. Stephen Garcia will lead the search process for the next principal of Blue Mountain Middle School to begin effective July 1st, 2025. And on behalf of the entire Hendrick Hudson community, we thank Mr. Giovanazzi for his years of service and wish him all the best in his next chapter, the next chapter of his life. Today, myself and Director of Facilities Anthony Merlini met with representatives from the New York State Department of Environmental Conservation, the New York State Public Service Commission, and the Department of Health to discuss the baseline monitoring report for Buchanan-Verplanck Elementary School. If you recall, earlier in the year, in December, we received that report. We released it to the community. It was shared with some of our partners in the Public Service Commission and DEC to get an understanding of some baseline environmental data at the Buchanan-Verplanck Elementary School. The recommendation of those entities, or as I heard numerous times, subject matter experts. I wish I could have that title, subject matter expert. The recommendation was that that initial report served its purpose of identifying any major safety concerns, of which there were none found. And they do recommend, prior to implementing the gamma detection, it's not the Jetsons, the gamma detection system at Buchanan-Verplanck, that a more robust evaluation occurs. This will help establish an industry standard baseline for future assessments and really ensure that the monitoring system is accurate. So the Department of Environmental Conservation has provided us with a list of qualified vendors that we could work with to explore a recommended scope for the work for that expanded study. We will most likely complete a request for proposals for vendors to be selected and respond to. The estimated cost for that work is between $7,500 and $12,000 for a full proper industry standard support evaluation before we begin that monitoring. We remain committed to ensuring the health and safety of our students, staff, and the community, and as always, we'll provide further updates as we move forward in this process. And finally, just a reminder that next Tuesday, March 25th, from 6 to 7 p.m. at the Hendrick Hudson High School, we're still looking for a room. I know Carmen was looking into that today. We will have the first meeting of our Centennial Celebration Task Force. Again, Tuesday, March 25th, 6 p.m. to 7 p.m. at the high school, and we're looking for any dedicated community member who wants to help us plan out this once-in-a-lifetime event. Maybe once in a lifetime, hopefully. We can extend that. But, please email me at michaeltrombley@hedsonschools.org or call my office at 914-257-5112, extension 5110 to sign up, and we look forward to shaping the celebration. At this time, there are no questions requiring follow-up, and due to the close proximity of our most recent Board of Education meetings, only the superintendent will be providing a report to the Board of Education this evening. That is all that I have.
All right, that brings us to board comments, new business on the board. Okay. Oh, hold on. Do we want to, is Corey, everything is Corey's good? Okay, just want to make sure. That moves us on to our policy readings. There are only 7 tonight?
You guys must have left early.
Nope.
I had
Battled through
allergies.
sickness.
I had allergies.
So this is the second reading of Code 2245, ex officio student member of the board. Board of Education.
Motion to waive the reading?
Second.
All in favor?
So one change we did make from last time, which Lauren, I believe you had asked about the required. If it had, or somebody asked, oh, that was Stephanie, sorry, that if asked, it does have to be marked as required now. So we did make that change since the last time we met and talked about this. And that was the only change we made in that time.
This is a nitpicky thing. The where this breaks, I don't know if there's anything maybe change it. See where this breaks from 4 to 5?
Yeah,
Yes.
that's just the way the board docs.
Yeah, you're gonna miss 5.
I'll play around with it tomorrow.
Yeah, maybe if you just close up above additional provisions, they'll come, no position, it might come up.
So I just want to say again, this is something that will be, the process will be starting soon, I'm going to say, because it has to be done before the end of this school year. So that will be brought to the high school. They will start that process where they elect someone, and this will be starting for on the board for next school year.
Yeah.
Correct.
So the students will actually raise their hand that they're interested, and then they will campaign like they do for any other student government position.
The high school is already postured to implement that process should the policy be approved.
And I don't know if you guys have noticed that NISBA's been sending us, and Westcott's been sending us information on this as well, on how to implement it.
I did see too, there's that leadership thing in Albany again, and this was one of the topics that was on that as well.
Okay. Do we have a motion?
Motion to approve policy number 2245.
All in favor? Do we just check a box off our goals? Maybe.
Hey, good job.
Okay, this is first reading policy 4321.11, public report on revisions to district policies, practices, procedures upon finding of significant disproportionality.
Wow. That's the whole policy.
Board of Education.
Motion to waive the reading.
Second.
All in favor? This is a required policy, first reading.
We didn't have this?
No, you got that right. This is special education. This is technically under the special education, to make sure that the classrooms are balanced.
This is again required. And this came to us from NISBA's. They noticed we didn't have it, and we should.
And just so you know, the state does the monitoring of this based upon our frequent data submissions. They do take a look at our demographic data and the placement in special education. And Chris and I are notified when there is, when they do release their monitoring reports, and they do tell us if there is a concern that we need to address.
I just want to point out with this type of thing, because I think it's important to note, just because we don't have a required policy in our policy book, doesn't mean that that the school district's not following the laws behind the policies. It's just because we didn't do as much keeping up with our policy book for many years in the school district, we're going to catch up. Eventually, we're going to be complete, but don't assume because we didn't have the policy that this hasn't been being done.
Yes, all administrators, beyond their professional their professionalism are required to uphold the Constitution of the United States, the Constitution of the State of New York, and all educational laws and commissioner regulations, as well as local board policies.
And we had talked about in policy, just to be fully transparent, what this looks like. So like, it is happening. We talked about how it was happening, the process that was going through, when they get notified, and how they're looking at it.
Okay, so we'll bring that one back. This is the first reading, revision policy 4511, textbook selection and adoption.
Motion to waive the reading.
Second.
All in favor? This is a complete rewrite based on the recommendation of NISBA.
Now, just for full clarification, I know we had a question on that. It does state in here that the board is the one who agrees upon it. We are not selecting a book, just going through that. Obviously, we have to board approve the selection that is presented to us. There will be a committee that is formed. They go through their process. They go to the superintendent. He brings it to us. We approve it. That's what this is stating. We are not, under any circumstances, doing the research ourselves. That is coming to us from the committee.
Nothing gets pulled while this is.
This is not a pull kind of thing. This is if they decide that they want to get a new curriculum for the following year, or what, I guess we don't really use the word pilot anymore, but if we want to get a curriculum, they go through that process. It's not about anything being pulled. It's about changing, and that's like district-wide, not like in a school or anything else. If Margaret, you can correct if anything I'm saying is incorrect. Yeah. Okay.
Because textbooks are, by and large, you have to purchase them. It falls under the fiduciary responsibility of the board, and we will present to you resolutions that indicate the title of the textbook, some reasons behind why it was selected, and also it'll appear as a resolution on the consent agenda.
And we'll bring this back. We also, just to add, we also have committees in place now. So there's a math task force, and then we also have the CIA committee, which is the curriculum review committee. So there's processes in place to make sure that this is all reviewed by the right people before it even gets to us. We'll bring that one back. This is first reading policy 4513, library materials selection.
Motion to waive the reading.
Second.
All in favor?
Again, this is not about pulling anything. It's just how the process goes through for books to be put into circulation within the library.
This is, and just to clarify, this is just library, not classrooms.
Correct.
I didn't notice this in the draft version, Carmen, but there's the bold here, such as the Horn Book School Library Journal.
Looked at it too.
It wasn't like that, yeah.
I'll clean it up.
And again, I know it states in there, superintendent and the school board, but there's committees that look at this before it even gets to us. So we are not doing, again, any of the selecting. We're just approving the selection or not approving the selection as presented to us.
Okay. Bring this one back. The next policy is the first reading, policy 4600, counseling and guidance programs.
Motion to waive the reading.
Second.
All in favor? This is another new policy that outlines exactly what our school counselors and guidance program, what their goals are, what their reason we have them. So again, this is not a required policy. We just feel like it's important to have this on record. Do you have anything to add to this one, Mike? Did your computer just
As my computer just said, yes. So the reason why it's a notice rather than a local or required policy is because the way the schools, districts must structure their counseling and guidance programs is laid out in commissioners' regulations. And there was a major update in 2018 to that, requiring different changes to the K-12 counseling program, such as access to information K-12 about career opportunities, and to have a guidance advisory council.
Yeah, it's all spelled out here. Is the guidance committee mentioned in here?
Yes.
It is, right?
So it's the
Yes, that's right. The advisory council.
yes.
Okay. Which we have.
We do. Dr. Kleinman runs that, and it met once in the fall, and it should meet another time before the school lets out.
Okay, we'll bring that one back. The next one is the first reading, revision policy 4710, grading systems. Grading is considered a positive.
Motion to waive the reading.
Second.
All in favor?
I have a question about that one.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if it really, how do we ensure that all teachers that are teaching the same course grade the same? So one teacher isn't easier than the other.
So there's always going to be some level of subjectivity with certain assignments or
But if it's
coursework.
the same course.
Sure. So we did include language. If you look at the second paragraph of the red on the first page, the language that the policy committee attempted to codify there was to address just that. Class sections will employ uniform grading standards. Each course and section syllabus will clearly detail the grading standards that students will be evaluated then.
So this was a lengthy conversation that we had, just full transparency, when we were looking at this, because we were asking that, like, how do we, well, not we as a board, because it's not our position to do that, but how that would happen. And one, you know, we said that would be the team that they were going to get together, and then they were going to make those course books and everything to make sure it is more uniform in terms of percentages that are used, assignments that are, like, you don't want to have one teacher that has, let's say, 20 assignments and their cohort partner has 3.
Or one
So-
teacher that counts homework and the other teacher doesn't count homework.
So that would be something that, again, will be looked at by the appropriate, I believe, like those principals and department chairs, all of that. So that would come from there. But this is just now stating that we're going to do that, because we did not have, we had one, and it was,
No, this is a new policy. Oh, no, this is an updated 2016.
yeah.
So I do know that the high school has begun just that conversation of how we can ensure parity across the sections of the same course.
And who's responsible?
Principals.
The
Would
principals?
be the first.
Okay.
Do our ILs, instructional leaders, and participate in those
Yes,
conversations?
they're
Yes.
Okay.
On your behalf.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, now next is first reading revision policy 4770, graduation requirements, early
Motion
graduation.
to waive the reading.
Second.
All in favor? This outlines the, I think this is just early graduation, isn't this?
Yes.
I thought it was.
It's a name change to,
Yes, well, it's a name change. Something was different about this one.
But the title still doesn't
Well,
reflect that.
I think part of it is the fact that graduation requirements will be changing, and this is just saying that we're going to
provides
be,
more flexibility to do that.
yeah, that we're just going to be following whatever is presented to us that we have to follow from the state instead of anything we had before.
Many Board of Education policies for graduation requirements would list out specific courses, specific credits.
And this one
And this
before
one-
said like the regions, but again, that will become one one pathway
Mhm.
Yeah.
as opposed to the only pathway. So this just leaves it open that when they decide those pathways, that we don't have to necessarily rewrite our policy.
But this is a name change. It's a complete rewrite because originally policy 4770 only referred to early graduation. How do you graduate early? It was this paragraph is talking about what you can't do, and then it mentions early graduation. I think with 8 semesters. I don't know.
Okay.
It's and then it's a little different now. And it also goes back to policy 4772, which is graduation ceremonies and diploma and credential options for students with disabilities. Bring this one back to. That's it. That brings us to committee reports. I just wanted to mention the Blue Mountain Middle School production this weekend. The whole community should come out and support. It's free for the whole community to come. There's no charge to come and see it. It is 13 junior.
Friday and Saturday.
It's Friday at 7 and then Saturday at 2 p.m. So, you know, come and celebrate. We had Hello Dolly this past weekend with our high school students, and then this opportunity for our community with the middle school students. So, I just wanted to share that. I don't think there hasn't been anything else. Okay.
Oh, and you guys, there's a dance on Friday, right?
Yes,
The first and
at
second
BV,
grade?
first and second grade at BV.
I don't know about the dance.
Yeah, first and second
I wasn't
grade.
invited.
It is rock, like rock music kind of theme. And then the 3, 4, 5 just went out. That will be April 11th.
Oh, April 11th,
Mhm.
yeah, Wizard of Oz thing,
Mhm.
drop off.
Love it.
Put it to be. Put it to
What
be.
age do the kids have to be to drop off?
I don't know, but
Third,
you know, like, yeah, they
Third,
don't
fourth,
want
fifth.
it to the parents at the dance anyway, so there's no point.
You can chaperone if you would like. There is an
I
option
would,
to
but it's
chaperone.
private. It's like, I'd be home.
All right. So,
Motion to close.
yeah, that leads us to the end. So,
Second.
all in favor?
Yeah.